Anja. Come on in, come on in, come on in, ladies. I am doing well. Thank you, Tika. All right, ladies, without further ado, we want to go ahead and get started. It's been an exciting time. I want to go ahead and just pray first before we get into what we want to share with you all tonight. I want to pray and then we'll get right into it if that's okay with you all. Father in heaven, Lord, we just thank you for this day. We thank you for an opportunity just to give your name praise, just to give your name glory, just to give your name honor. Lord, as we're on this journey of emotional and spiritual healing, emotional and spiritual enlightening, God, we are desiring to go to a deeper depth in you, go higher in you, God, get closer to you, Lord God, so that we can fulfill our purpose here on earth. I thank you for every single speaker that came through on this week, that poured out diligently. Lord, I thank you, Lord God, for their commitment. I thank you for their love. I thank you for the words that they spoke, oh God. And I thank you that it ignited something in each and every one of these ladies that signed up to be a part of this 7-day challenge. So God, I pray that as we go forth on tonight, that you decrease Jill and I, Lord God, that you speak through us, oh God, and share what you need to share to your daughters. For it's in Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. All right, you guys. So tonight we just want to bring it all in. We've had an amazing 6 days, six speakers, including Trell and I, that share different things. And we call it Woman Against All Odds, because the truth of the matter is, in life, it sometimes is the case that we are against many odds as women, whether that's just the odds of being a woman, the different things that we deal from gender, from a spiritual standpoint, from a mother standpoint, from a wife standpoint, from a single woman's perspective, the things that we go through growing up. There's so many things that we experience and that we have to be the strong front oftentimes for. And sometimes we don't get the time to really care for ourselves. I want to say this really quick, which is not a tangent, but is unrelated but very related. I saw a post earlier. They were talking about, I guess someone was having a discussion about Vanessa, and we know about the loss of Kobe Bryant, and about Vanessa and how she needs to be strong for her kids. And they're saying that so often they always, even when a woman go through death, a sudden death of a spouse and a daughter, and all these things, it is this persona, there's this expectation that we have to be strong and we have to keep going no matter what. And this time we're saying, let's take a pause and making sure that you're good. One thing that we believe for sure is that the best thing that you can do for your family, the best thing that you can do for your children is heal yourself. So we wanted to take this week out to say, let's heal yourself. So I know many of you guys know Trell and I, you guys been rocking with us. Some of you guys been rocking with us for the last 12 months, 12, or 5 months or 5 years or however long, 5 weeks, different times. So we have different levels of relationship with everyone. But we're just going to recap really quick for those who may be new to us or who may not know why you should even listen to us. Why are we credible? And that you should really take what we say to heart and really apply this to elevate your life. So first of all, I would be remiss if I didn't tell you that we are best-selling authors, written many blogs, international radios. This crazy thing is, this is really 20 years experience. First-hand experience is more like 30 years. That's really outdated now. We have over 30 years of first-hand experience and over 15 years of marriage between the two of us. Actually closer to 20 years of marriage between the two of us. We have had 10 years of showing other people how to transform their life. We are not new to this. We are true to this. We've been doing this since 2008 is when we started this with youth. In 2011, we started working with women. Been coached by some of the best in the industry, from Lisa Nichols to Trevor Ott, Che Brown, Abriel Franks, and it's a host of others. founders of Be Transformed Network. So just wanted to tell you guys a little bit about who we are and why you should listen to us, and let you know that for those who are new to us, that we are not fly by night. We've been around the block a couple of times, and by the grace of God, we're here to stay. So what I wanted to share with you first, just this is my family, well, at least part of my family now. This is me and the Hubbins. We love to do a lot of things. Water sports, which my husband's like, I don't know how you like to do water sports, and I'm still learning. I'm still improving my swimming skills, but I love to do water sports, whether that's going jet skiing, not on the east shore of the U.S. I really like to go in the Bahamas, San Diego, where there's blue water and you can actually kind of see a little bit in the water. I became a legal guardian this year, so I have my nephew with me. He just turned 9 years old, and so he's here with us. And of course, we're just waiting for God to bless us with our babies and whatever timing God has for that. Just to tell you a little bit, I've been married it'll be 8 years this coming November. So 7 years of blissful marriage. Very grateful. Not saying that it's perfect and not saying that we haven't gone through anything, but I think one of the main reasons that we're being able to triumph is because of my own spiritual and emotional healing and maturity. And that's what we're going to share with you more about, how to continue on your journey of spiritual and emotional healing.
Absolutely. And that's I call my husband my real life superhero, because he is. He gets teased all the time. People say he looks like a football player. He did play football, but he's definitely not a football player. And we just enjoy spending time together. We like traveling together. I love going to the movies more so than he does, but he does tolerate it at times. And he does go with me. But we just like enjoying one another. And I can attest to what Joe said as well. As far as our marriage is concerned, it's not perfect, but we're definitely perfect for one another. I have to copy and steal what Daniela said last night, Jill, is that God strategically made my husband for me. No one else can be his wife but me, and I'm grateful for that. I'm grateful to God for the anointing to be his wife and to serve him and to serve with him, and the capacity I've had to have been able to do so. And I have to also attribute that to my emotional growth, my spiritual growth, and my spiritual healing. And I'll talk about that a little later on. But what I do know is that what Jill said early on when we came on is that the best thing that you can do for your family and the best thing that you can do for yourself is heal. For those that are married, for those that desire marriage, the best thing that you can do for your future husband, the best thing you can do for your husband right now is heal. Hashtag I am healed.
This is really the latest. Hold on. Let me make sure I got the latest and greatest thing up on my screen. Give me just 1 second.
Yes, San Diego is beautiful, Tika. It's an amazing place. I didn't want to come back. I was forced to come back on the east side, but it's all good. So while Jill's doing that, I want to just ask a couple questions. What has been your struggle or challenge, as Daniela said last night? What has been your challenge with spiritual and emotional healing? If you guys can just share that in the chat, because tonight is going to be more of a conversation. Yes, we're going to share with you. We're going to bring it all together over the last 6 days, but we also want to have a dialogue with you. This is going to be an opportunity for you to ask questions. We plan to be on here for about an hour, but hey, if it does go longer than that, we're here to support and to serve you. But we do want you to just write in the chat for us, what has been some of your challenges when it comes to spiritual and emotional healing? I know this week we've talked about double-mindedness. We talked about rejection. We talked about jealousy. We talked about bitterness. We talked about seduction and perversion and all of that stuff. So what has been some of your challenges that you still are trying to get over and trying to manage as you do this thing called life? If you could just post that in the chat for me. I want to chat with you guys for a second here. I'm waiting on you ladies. I'm still battling PTSD from time. Okay. PTSD, or you're talking about the embitterment, Tamara? Post-traumatic embitterment disorder, what I talked about on day one. The challenge has been, in fact, that I have always been a finisher, and somewhere along the line came a great procrastinator. Okay. So Tamara, what I'm hearing you saying is that you were in a relationship that did not serve you, and you've since moved on from that relationship physically, but there's still some challenges that you're having with yourself, challenges of moving on, perhaps, and challenges of forgiveness, and really being in a space where you're ready to receive love and you're ready to give love again. Am I in the vein with that, Tamara? And Yvonne, what I see you say is that you've always been a person that was able to establish goals and achieve them, but something happened, and now you're in a place where you're feeling stuck and you're lacking the confidence and accountability to move forward and accomplish further goals. Am I in the right vein with that, Yvonne? Yes, Beverly, the replay is still available. The replays will be available until tonight, actually, until midnight tonight. Okay. Mary said also cycles of going back. Okay. So am I right to say that you desire a healthy relationship, and the reason why you do go back is because that relationship was familiar to you. However, you do understand that that's not the best relationship for you right now, and you're trying to figure it all out. Trying to be strong for everyone else through my grief, putting myself last, not realizing that I was so far left in the faith because I pray every day, but the 7 days have learned I just the emotions. Okay, I see that, Tika. And what I see you saying as well is that you do have a love for people, and you are in a position where you can help people, but sometimes you feel yourself giving from an empty place because there's so much more that you still want to do. There's so much more that you still have to figure out yourself. And before you can give up others, you need to put you first. You need to start making you a priority. And in particular, your faith, because you realize that you praying was great and that's the start, but there are other things that you need to do to go deeper in God and to strengthen your relationship with Him. Am I in the right vein with that, Tika? This is good, guys. Because here's what I know. When you're not able to really explore what the real issue is, right? And we keep looking at the symptoms and not the actual problem, then nothing ever gets resolved. We keep going into it. I often relate it to a hamster on a wheel. You just keep spinning, 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 but you're not going anywhere. You get to a certain place, but then you feel stuck. And what we want to help you all do tonight is to get from that place of feeling stuck and to get on a not a treadmill, but to get on a track so that you can continue going, and so that that track never ends, right? So you're continuing to go from one place to the next. And as you're going, you're growing and you're being strengthened in that place as well. So are we up and running, Jill?
Yep, we're good to go.
Okay.
We're good to go. We're good to go. So are you finished, or any last comments you want to say before we pivot back to here?
Nope, we're good. Yeah, the slide is right in the vein. So.
Right, exactly. As in, what have you already tried that perhaps has not worked for you? A lot of times you might have tried it on your own, meaning, you say, you know what? Well, yes, I've been through XYZ, but I'm just going to figure it out on my own. And one thing I've been saying, and you guys are going to hear me say this probably all year, you're going to hear me say this until you do something about it. The truth of the matter is, you can know what to do. You guys know what to do to get healed. You know what to do to get whole. You guys need to be praying regularly. You need to forgive. You need to reconcile, any alt that you have with other people. You have to change your disposition in terms of how you show up. So there's a lot of things you already know what you need to do. You can't walk around with a bitter heart. You can't be jealous of people. You can't be envious. I mean, but as the saying going, it's easier said than done. And I like to say that 80% of your success is action. Somebody type that right down on the screen below here. 80% of your success is action. 20% is head knowledge. Please type that below. You guys are going to hear me saying that until I'm blue in the face. And I want you to know and remember that, because trying to do it on your own a lot of times doesn't work, because you can know all you want. You have to actually have oftentimes some type of accountability or something. A lot of times too, I hear people talk about praying it away. We talk about the, what is it, Charles?
The HAP method, praying and hoping.
The hope and pray. We believe in the power of prayer. Listen, we grew up in a household where our mom used to put holy oil on our face, 5 a.m. in the morning, wake up with prayer, grandmama dragging us out to church to pray, daddy taking us to church to pray. We understand prayer works. Auntie slaying in the spirit for 12 hours, got it. And all that is a very effective strategy. However, when it comes to emotional things, unless you're operating with somebody who has a deliverance ministry, you can't just pray it away. There's things you have to do. Apostle Paul says, when I was a child, I acted and I thought as a child, but when I became a man, I put away childish ways. So there's some things that you have to do. Trey, one of your favorite quotes is that oftentimes people's knowledge is over and above their level of obedience. And so we got to get you into the level of obedience through your actions. And sometimes you made certain type of adjustments, or you made changes. You may even try avoidance. This is something we see a lot in terms of people trying to avoid conflict, trying to avoid people. You say you was going to do something, you don't want to do it again, so now you're avoiding the situation. That is so unhealthy, and it does not work. So type down in the chat, what other things have you tried when it comes to your emotional and your spiritual restoration and healing? Because we're talking about your soul, make no mistake. We say your soul is what? Your mind, your will, and your emotion. So we're talking about your soul. What have you done to heal your soul? Maybe you have attended a conference, right? And the conference was powerful and it was amazing, but you came back and you was the exact same person you was when you left. That's not transformation.
And here's the thing with that. Faith without works is dead. So although, yes, praying is a method and we should pray, we should seek the word of God, we should seek wise counsel, but faith without works is dead. So there has to be some works with your faith. And even though you know what to do, many don't know how to do it. Like I often say, I run into women all the time. They're like, well, how do you lose weight? How are you so healthy? How do you go to the gym? How do you do all of that? Well, I made a decision. Well, number one, I had a desire. I made a decision, and then I incorporated discipline. I'm going to say that again. I had a desire. So a desire, you have to have a will to want to. You being on this live for the last 7 days, what this tells us is you have a will to want to. You have a will to want to change. You have a will to want to be healed spiritually. You have a will to want to be healed emotionally. So you're here. Now we have to make a decision. What is the decision? The decision is, what am I going to do next? You have to be committed to be the person who came for your transformation. You have to be committed to being the person to leaving a legacy for your children's children, leaving an inheritance. I know we like to say that, oh, I'm building my empire, I'm leaving a legacy. Okay, so yeah, you leave your children $100 million. You leave your children land, but are you leaving your children social skills? Are you leaving your children emotional intelligence? Are you leaving your children spiritual maturity? I know when we talk about legacy, a lot of times we're talking about the tangible things, but what about the intangible things? What about you leaving your children how to have healthy conflict, how to heal after a broken relationship, how to have a deeper relationship with God, how to learn how to trust God and have faith? We have to learn how to leave those type of legacies as well as the tangible legacies as well.
Absolutely, absolutely. And we were remiss, and we have to say this. During the last 7 days, there was a lot of information and there's a lot of value going forth. And people have shown you a little bit about, or told you what you need to do to leave this legacy. And we're not talking about materialistic things. We're talking about the non-tangibles. We're talking about the soul, the matters of your heart and soul. Remember we said that, women against all odds, the matters of your heart and your soul. So for some of you, the last 6 days, you've been trailblazing, you've made some transformation, you've made some shifts, and you're good. And then there's others of you who like, okay, we just like start to hit the tip of the iceberg. I'm concerned that in 1 week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, the information I learned, because you know, the enemy is going to come and try to steal that word if he hasn't already, is going to come and steal that word and you're not going to be able to apply it. So some of you guys need some implementation. Some of you need a plan and a strategy. So tonight we want to share with you, we're going to give you some more tips about that spiritual and heart healing. But we also want to give you an opportunity to continue the conversation so you can have a 12-week implementation strategy, so you're not walking out here blind and you just feel like you're just being thrust back into another year, and you look up, 2020 is over and you're the same place you're at December 31st, 2020 that you were January 1st, 2020. That's not transformation. We're all about transformation. So we're going to give you opportunity tonight to actually look at, what's my next steps? What do I need next? Do I need accountability? Do I need coaching? Do I need community? What is that thing I need next? Not only just to know about my healing, but to actually manifest it in real life.
And what I do want to say before we get off that slide, because what the enemy will try to do, the word of God tells us, as Joe quoted, that the enemy wants to come and he wants to take the word from you. But what he also wants you to do is to wallow in shame, self-doubt, fear, guilt, and blame. He wants you to think that the reason why you have not been able to move on from that relationship, the reason why you have not been able to build your faith, the reason why you have not been able to get over jealousy or whatever your challenge is because there's something wrong with you. It is your fault. He wants you to worry yourself to death, literally and figuratively. So we want to put that disclaimer out there that it is not your fault, because many times, even when you know what to do, as we stated earlier, sometimes you don't know how to do it. And that's why we're here. Sometimes you don't know who to go to get what you need. And again, that's why we're here. So I want to go ahead and put that disclaimer out there for anybody that the enemy is trying to attack your mind even now, or attack your mind before, to make you feel like the reason why you're here is because it's something that you said, it's something that you did. But I'm going to let you know that you don't have to stay stuck here. This is the last day that you will remain stuck. Somebody put that in the chat. Somebody say, this is the last day I will stay stuck doing, and fill in the blank, whatever that is. Or this is the last day I will stay stuck being, whatever that is, whatever place you stayed stuck at. This is the last day I will stay stuck in my faith. This is the last day I will stay stuck in my relationships. This is the last day I will stay stuck in not having peace and not being able to offer forgiveness. So whatever that is for you, I want you to write in the chat, this is the last day. This is the last day I will stay stuck.
And I don't know if y'all see my shirt. It says Unstuck. That's what we're about, Team Unstuck tonight. And we're going to slow down the speed back up. And ask you guys, why are you here? Matter of fact, why have you shown up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, or even on the 7th day? Why? What are you hoping to get? What were you hoping to get as a result? And we would love for you to type it in the chat. Because a wise person once said, if you don't really have a place particularly that you're going, it doesn't matter how you get there. So at some point we have to get clarity. At some point you have to get clarity about why. I remember one time I went up to Baltimore, and it took me a good 2 hours to get up there. And went there, and I started coming back. And on that way back, I said, why did I come here? And I was having a conversation with myself, and I said, this is the last time I'm going somewhere and not have clarity about my why. So let's slow down and get clarity. And it is a reason why you have to figure that thing out. And even for me, I didn't identify what my reason was in that moment, which because of that, I couldn't really take the next actions of what I need to do because I wasn't clear on why I even went in the first place. Now, as I look back, I know exactly why I was there. So take a moment right now to say, why are you here? And I'm going to be looking in the chat to see if I can follow you guys of why you're here.
Good stuff, Armida. Good stuff.
A little lag. So I'm gonna keep going because I see there's a little lag on the there's a little lag on the Facebook. So we better keep moving. I'm not gonna be able to capture their comments in real time.
Critiquing myself for the success that's coming. They're coming in. That's good stuff. Good stuff.
I'm here for community and encouragement. Shantae, thanks so much for sharing. Tamara, why are you here? Takia, why are you here? Angela, why are you here? Armanda? Oh, go ahead, Trey.
Angela say, critiquing myself for the success that's coming.
This quote to the right is one of my favorite. And it says, our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. It is our light, not our darkness, that frightens us. And I love this quote because I never heard this said quite like this. We all at times, we're always thinking out, oh, I'm afraid, I'm whatever fear we have, we think it's about being small or being insufficient or inadequate. But no, the option is really true. Is really that you're afraid that you're going to be as great as, even greater than what you think you're capable of being, as great as God says that you are, and it scares the lights out of you. And so we got to get to the place that we are bold as a lion, that we're walking and knowing who we are and not backing down from that, and not allowing the light that we can bring to this earth to frighten us. Because the truth of the matter is, we don't know how much time we have on this earth. So we have to maximize every day as if it's our last, and say, what do I need to do to impact the lives of others today? And taking that as an opportunity. And what we know, in order for you to impact the lives of others, whether it's your children or your husband or your future husband or whoever, you have to impact your own life. The truth of the matter is, for you to live fulfilled and to really have the capacity to fill other people's cup, you have to first fill your own. That's why the word God says, my cup runs over.
And somebody said last night, I think it was Tika, she was saying that she was afraid or feared her own success. And that's a trick of the enemy, because what we do know is that he attacks your mind. And if he can attack your mind, he will attack your entire life. Philippians 2:5, that was 15, that was quoted on yesterday, is let this mind be in you, which was also in Christ Jesus. So in order for you to know what type of mindset that was in Christ Jesus, you have to study his life. You have to study his ways. You have to study his qualities to know what type of mindset that he had, and then implement that into your life every single day. When we talk about abundance in John 10:10, he's not just talking about you having houses and cars and land. He wants you to have abundance when it comes to the non-tangible things as well. Abundance of peace, abundance of patience, abundance of spiritual growth, abundance in your marriage, abundance in your family, abundance with your children. So we look at abundance and we all automatically go to the tangible things. And so many people for so long have been reaching toward the tangible things. Oh, I want a bigger business, a better business, more money, more clients, more. However, you're dying on the inside. When it comes to your spiritual life, you're dying. When it comes to your emotional life, you're dying. When it comes to your mental life, you're dying. And that's not the place that God wants us at.
I'm seeing some powerful comments. Armida, if I'm saying it right, Armida says, I am here to learn how to have patience with myself and to turn anxiety and fear off. And I would
Mm.
even change that just a little bit, say, you're here so you can have patience with yourself and to turn anxiety and fear into faith. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Great stuff. Great stuff. Great comments coming in. Thank you so much. I'm gonna share a quick story, and Trell, if you can share the story really quick, also about when you dealt with a level of rejection and abandonment growing up with dad when he passed. But I'm just gonna say this: before I got to the place of healing and restoration, I was a hot mess, and I didn't think I was a hot mess. And I say that is because I didn't really have a good hand on my emotions. I allowed so much in my life. See, when you don't have the level of spiritual and emotional foundation that you need, you allow a lot in your life. I allowed myself to get into physical relationships with men that did not serve me because I didn't understand my value. I didn't understand my work. I didn't understand what I was bringing to the table and who I was. And so I oftentimes got into relationships looking for love, which oftentimes end up into a physical or sexual relationship. And I didn't get the love I was looking for. I was looking for companionship. And with that companionship manifested into a sexual relationship, which actually turned into more pain. And I believe it was, I don't know, I want to call her apostle. I don't know if she's apostle. Kelly Bass was speaking, Minister Kelly Bass was speaking, and how if you go out into the world with your hurt, when that spirit of seduction comes to you, they're going to appeal to your hurt. And you're going to think that they're helping you, but they're pacifying your hurt. And that's exactly what was happening to me. So much so, I ran into this guy who had been an ex-convict, and I got connected with him. And then he got charges brought up against him again for a crime. And because I was in such close quarters with him, my car was searched and seized. I was interrogated. And also my room that I was renting at the time was invaded, and it just was a whole big mess. I really literally saw my life flashing before my eyes. I remember laying on the couch, paralyzed by fear, wondering if I was going to spend the rest of my life in prison because I was being treated as a suspect in this crime. And so this is the impact, this is the effects of not getting emotionally healed and spiritual healing that you need. It causes you to make poor choices about the people that you have in your life. It causes you to make poor choices about the things that you do and don't do in your life. And nobody can really see it per se. It's an internal thing, right? It's the matter of the heart and soul. So nobody really knows unless you reveal it to them. And then maybe if they start hearing you talk about your situation and what you're tolerating, they may get an understanding, okay, something's wrong with her, something's up with her. I'll say this last thing before I pass the mic to Trell. I remember I also was dating this other guy who had been through a lot. He saw his parents murdered before his eyes. And as a result of that, he dealt with a high level of trauma, and I was dating him. And the guy that actually hooked us up said, hey, something's wrong with this guy. He got a lot of unresolved issues. I didn't realize that at the time. And he's like, if you continue to talk to him, that shows that something's wrong with you too. Because the truth of the matter is nobody's going to stay in a relationship like that unless they're dealing with their own hurt and pain. So don't make the mistake of going through life as if everything's okay. As Touré Roberts says, it's okay not to be okay.
But it's not okay to stay not okay, because at some point you're going to have to address that not being okay. And I keep talking about us as women reaching for the stars, reaching for success, reaching for the degrees, reaching for whatever we feel or whatever we think is going to make us feel whole or complete or well put together. And my story is dealing with rejection and overcoming feeling dismissed by people that I love. And particularly growing up with my father. We grew up in a two-parent home. We grew up in a Christian environment. However, I had a father that provided spiritually, but not necessarily emotionally, not for me anyway. I didn't feel that emotionally he was available and he was there. And a lot of times I felt dismissed. A lot of times I felt like I was on my own. And then the ultimate happened 3 days before my 18th birthday. My dad died. So not only was I already experiencing a level of rejection, but now abandonment. Now I feel like the person that was supposed to leave all my life left with no warning at all. So just imagine you are in those type of shoes. Just imagine you being that young 7. I'm back, you guys. Just imagine you being that young 17-year-old girl. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. I'm trying to get you back on the screen. Keep talking.
Okay. Imagine you were that young 17-year-old girl and you desire the love from your father. You desire support. Because here's the thing, and anybody that's here that is dealing with any type of rejection or abandonment issues, be it from a loved one or be it from a significant other as far as relationship is concerned or a parent is concerned, you expect that person to love you. You expect that person to support you. You expect that person to be there for you, especially from a parent perspective. And when that happened to me, I still had some unresolved issues when it came to my father, because there were some things that I was trying to work out within myself as far as my expectation that I had for him. I felt like he didn't meet the expectations that I had for him as my father. So I had all of these things that I was trying to work out, unforgiveness and all of these things. And then he dies and I never get an opportunity to share with him. So I go on with my life thinking that, okay, I'm just going to grow up and I'm going to mature and I'm going to do this thing on my own. But little did I know is that place of rejection was still ringing loudly in my heart. It was still ringing loudly in my mind. And I was a hot ghetto mess when it came to relationship. Any signs of being rejected, any signs of being dismissed, any the signs of being shooed away per se, like shoo, you know, you shoo something away, any signs of that, I would just go cuckoo for Cocoa Pops. Like I didn't know how to manage my emotions. You talked earlier about your EQ, Tamara. I had no idea what that meant. That meant for me blowing up. That meant for me, you know, cutting up with my mouth or saying vowel words or things that I wasn't supposed to say or shouldn't have said, because I grew up in a Christian environment. I knew that, you know, speaking profanity or acting out of character, if you will, was not of God. And that's something that my parents would not have been pleased. But because I was dealing with this thing called rejection, and catch this, you all, I had no idea that it had a name. I had no idea what I was experiencing, what I was going through, what I was facing had a name to it until years, if not decades later. But here's the thing. You guys are on here tonight. Here's the thing. We're living in the 21st century, and we know what rejection looks like. We know what abandonment looks like. We may not always know how to handle those things, but we know what they look like. And now we have an opportunity to be able to dig deep within ourselves and uncover some layers and peel back the onion and say, okay, this is where this started. This is why this is here. And now in our current relationships, we're able to manage those feelings and emotions that we have. Because check this out, even when I got married almost 8 years ago, I didn't realize that I was still dealing with rejection. I still felt dismissed at times when my husband would say things or do things, not necessarily to hurt or harm me, but because I was still dealing with a level of rejection, I took it personal and I cut up, I blew up, said things that I wasn't supposed to say, right? So when we don't take the time out to heal, when we don't take the time out to identify those areas of concern, those things that are affecting our lives, they will, I promise you, they will affect the relationships that you're in or those that you desire to be in.
That's
brokenness
good.
That drags brokenness. Yep.
That's good, Trell, and that's so true. Thanks so much for your transparency on that. Now we're going to step into sharing with you guys some of the steps that you need to take, like the different components that you're going to need to take to eradicate the emotional and spiritual turmoil, trauma, dysfunction, whatever you want to call it, stuff, junk, okay, clutter. So first thing is, you're going to have to start releasing limiting beliefs. Somebody mentioned the fear and the anxiety. It is real. It is real. And the truth of the matter is, when we're talking about matter, your souls, your mind, your will, and your emotion, the anxiety starts in your mind. And it manifests in your body, because your body is a shell. So your body is trying to keep up what's going on in your mind. And you have to start applying spiritual principles to manifest God's promises in your life. Step 1, somebody write that: releasing limited beliefs, fears, and anxiety. Release, release, release. Let it go. Let it go. Because the truth of the matter is, it's really hard for other people to see your value if you don't see it.
And Jill, I want to say something on anxiety real quick. Anxiety is real. I experienced my first anxiety attack almost 2 years ago, and I had no idea what was happening. If anybody has ever experienced an anxiety attack, you feel like you're dying, right? You feel like everything is happening to you. You're dying.
Having a heart attack.
You're having a heart attack. You're having an aneurysm. Everything that you can think of is such a crazy experience. And Joe was there with me the entire way through it, right? So what happens with anxiety is that you have you're thinking about all of these things, all of this pressure and stress that you've allowed to overwhelm you. And you're trying to control the uncontrollable. It can be, something you did, something you said. It can also have something to do with your business, with your career, with your life, your purpose, whatever. It has things to do with so many areas of your life, right? At that time, when I experienced that anxiety attack, it was not that anything wrong was going on in my life, but we were in the midst of our conference. Was the 6th annual Elevate Your Life conference. So we were doing that. I was actually writing a blog. I was at work. I had just moved from Charleston to DC. So I did have a lot going on. And I didn't realize how all of that, even though good stress, was affecting my body, was affecting my well-being. And I was sitting at my desk, you guys, at my job, and I experienced this anxiety attack. So when we talk about anxiety and fears and beliefs, they all work together, and they're all in the same family. So a part of me could have been fearing, had some fear around the conference and me writing this blog because I was sharing something that was very transparent. And that's the thing, because your mind is working. And even though you may feel like, I'm doing something that I enjoy and that I love, you sharing something, and Tika, you talked about the success, you fearing success, you fearing to be more like God, because that's really what success looks like. That can bring on anxiety. That brings on fear. Because what we do know is that fear shows up first. And prolonged fear, prolonged limited beliefs then brings on anxiety. Then that then brings on depression. And then that then brings on other things. And when you're not emotionally healed, spiritually healed, and spiritually and emotionally aware of what's going on, you'll find yourself in that place where you're staying stuck and anxiety becomes you. Y'all hear what I said? You stay stuck and anxiety becomes you. You won't be able to control the anxiety. Now I'm at a place, I understand what brings on the stress. I understand what brings on the fear. I know when fear shows up, and I'm able to manage and control. No medication. Yes, I went to see a therapist, but no medication. And I'm not saying anything is wrong with medication, because I know some people have to take it. But for me, that's not what I wanted. So I decided to take control of my life and to readjust some things in my life, to reevaluate some things in my life. Tika, you talked about helping everybody else out and doing all of that. I had to take a step back because I was the most and is the most important person after God. And I was and am the most important person in my life after God.
And as I think about it, just to bring this really clear, the core and the root of anxiety and all of that is fear and worrying. Mm-hmm. And then a lot of times it's from a great place of wanting to excel, wanting to achieve, wanting to accomplish. But then it manifests itself in too much other things because we're trying to do too much. That's one of the biggest mistakes. So pivoting on to the next thing, step 2 is get faith. You got to have faith, and you got to learn how to take the notions, that fear that want to come up, and take that fear and manifest it into faith. So a lot of times you have displaced faith, you have lack of faith. And it's crazy because we be the ones in the kingdom, the believers, the Christians, that struggles the most with faith. Or we want to be super selective. Oh, I'm going to trust God with my children when they go to school. I'm going to trust God that he's going to provide for me in this area. But when it comes to our relationship, we're not going to trust God. When it comes to your mental health, you're not trusting God. When it comes to, certain things, you're not trusting God. A lot of times, even with your finances, I feel like finances and relationships are the two biggest areas where people struggle to trust God. So God can make sure that you get somewhere safe and do all these other things, but he can't take care of you in your emotional state. He can't make sure that your soul ties are broken. He can't take care of you in the spiritual and the emotional. And that's his area of genius. Okay. How my girl say, okay. But we do that. And so you have to get to a place of getting faith. And there's two different types of people in the world. You have those people that's super analytical, that's trying to process and understand everything. And don't worry, the Bible got you there. You can, there's a lot of things that you can analyze and apply to your life. And if that's going to help you, then that's there for you to support you in that way as well. But you got to know, what are those spiritual principles and how do I apply them to my life so they make sense? And that's where, having a coach or someone come in, and we'll get to that a little later. The third thing that you have to do is identify toxic patterns, emotional patterns, and change your relationship with the different things in your life. Like, you got to learn how to change those toxic patterns and behaviors and thinking. Like, if you find yourself just having what we call automatic negative thoughts. So something happens and automatically you go into a pattern of thinking negative rather than finding a way to think positive about it. That's an indication that there needs to be some type of mindset shift or relational shift of how you're dealing with that thing. And that could be in every area of life. That can show up with your boss. That could show up with everything. Even sometimes I had to shift my relationship even when it comes to food, because a lot of times we are emotional eaters, right? And so because we're emotional eaters, the natural thing is when we're going through emotional things, we want to gravitate towards food. But I had to renew my mind about food. I had to say, hold up. Food is not just for me to gosh, and see what all is delicious and act like Cookie Monster. No, food is for nutrition. And when I stopped focusing on, oh, I gotta avoid McDonald's, I can't go to McDonald's, I gotta avoid Chick-fil-A, can't go to Chick-fil-A, and I stopped focusing on what I couldn't have and start focusing on what I needed, which was the proper nutrition, of the proper intake of fruits and vegetables and protein in my life. In fact, it made it so much easier. And this applies to every area of our life. And even going back to spiritual things, you have to say, okay, don't focus on sinning. Don't focus on being emotionally dysfunctional. Don't focus on the anxiety. Don't focus on the fear. Focus on the faith. Focus on the word. Focus on the hope. Focus on the promise. Because what I do know, whatever you focus on will grow. I need somebody to type that on the screen. Whatever you focus on will grow. Period. Dot. Exclamation point. So just to recap, first, letting go of the fears, anxiety, the worry. Second thing is get faith. Get rid of all that displaced and lack of faith. And then thirdly is identify the toxic emotions and patterns and changing your relationships with that. And we're going to spend just a few minutes sharing with you about some of the people that we've worked with in the past that have experienced tremendous faith and mindset shifting as a result of working with us. The first person that comes to mind is Rolanda. I'm surprised she's not on here tonight, but Rolanda has experienced so much transformation in her journey of working with Trell and I. She went from a place of, devastation when she lost her mom, being unemployed, and just going through I would say a spiritual warfare season, not knowing how she would bounce back. But after she worked with us, we helped her to lay out her goals. We like to work in quarters. We find that working in like a 90-day cycle works very well for people. And that's why tonight we're going to be talking about a 12-week implementation plan that you're going to be able to take advantage of if you decide to do so. And that's similar to what she did. And she was able to map out her goal. Well, that's exactly what she did. And we were able to map out her goals and for her to accomplish her goals. She just slayed it. In terms of that time, she was focused on she wanted to go to Bible college. So she got into the Bible college that she wanted to get into. She got the job that she was looking for. She actually also started launching her first, she had her first parent conference, if you will, to help kids with special needs and help their parents know how to advocate for them. So she was able to do that. And most importantly, during this time, she grew a closer walk with God. And through her relationship with God, it really gave her the confidence to go after exactly what she wanted. Another one, the story was with Tiara. And Tiara had invested in one of our Goal Achiever Power workshops. And when we worked with her, we were able to map out her goals. She said, and I'll quote her, "I just want to say the time invested was nothing short of amazing. It was worth everything I put into it. Clarity was brought to all my goals, and I learned so many steps and tips to be successful. This will be a year like no other. Manifestations coming out of my pores because I've decided to take life by the reins and put the word to work and dominate." So she really just opened up so many doors for her and provide clarity. Clarity is priceless. Somebody type that down below. Clarity is priceless.
Yes, yes, yes. So listen, you guys, if you guys enjoying this, this is some good stuff. This is some good stuff. So here's what we know. We've been on for the last 6 days, and we've gotten some amazing teaching, some revelation. We've gotten some strategies. But what we do know is that there's still a level of more. There's still more. Somebody says more. Somebody type in more. If you still need more to go to your next level, to elevate your life, to elevate your business, to elevate your marriage, to elevate your money, whatever that is, I want you to type in the comments more. And what I want to share with you now, we're going to just go through the 12 steps of how to transform your life and your relationships. And basically what these steps are what we are going to use to implement in our 90-day strategy plan. Jill talked earlier about we wanted to continue the conversation for the next 90 days. I know we've all heard that it takes 21 days to form a habit, but that's not true. It honestly takes 3 cycles of 21 days to form a habit. And many people try to do things for 21 days, and you may be okay for the 25th day or the 30th day, but lo and behold, if you don't keep practicing or doing what you've been doing to get to that point, slowly but surely you will begin to fall off. So the 12 steps, number 1 is we want to show you how to recognize and identify the pain. We know that many of you have different levels of pain, come from broken relationships, broken marriages, rejection, abandonment, abuse. We get it, we understand it, and we can relate with many of those things. But we have to learn how to identify how, not only identify and recognize the pain, but how is that pain now affecting other relationships? How is that pain now affecting your business growth and development? How is that pain now affecting the relationship with your children? So we have a special guest that will be sharing with you how to do just that. Then week 2, we want to show you how to identify and release toxic things, people, and habits. Because here's the thing. Many of you know how to identify the toxicity, but releasing them is a whole nother strategy. It's a whole nother game changer. And if you're desiring to truly elevate to that next place, some people, honestly, just can't go. Some things you can't take into the second quarter of this year. Some things you can't take into the month of March because you've been holding on to it for so very long. Week 3, for those that have been in relationships, a toxic relationship, and sometimes you're physically separated, but now you need to be emotionally, mentally, and spiritually separated. Week 3, we're going to talk about how to let go of the toxic lover. And even if that's yourself, even if you were the toxic person, how do I now let go of those toxic behaviors, that toxic mindset? Matter of fact, where did that toxicity come from? And how do I let it go? Then week 4, forgiveness. And not just forgiveness, but forgiveness after a broken covenant or commitment. So for those that have been in a committed relationship, such as a marriage, and there was some infidelity or some things that have happened, we're going to talk about that in week 4. And then week 5, forgiveness and freedom. Your right to forgive, your freedom to forgive. You go to the next slide, Jill.
It's there, may not be showing up yet, but it's there.
Okay. In week 6, we're going to finish the conversation and talking about mastering forgiveness. And the reason why we're going to talk about forgiveness so much is because this is an area where so many people struggle. Oh, I can forgive, but I can't forget. I can forgive, but you still, I'm never going to forget what you did to me. And all that may be valid and true to some extent. But when forgiveness shows up, you show up differently. When forgiveness shows up, your attitude shows up. 3 areas shows up. Your MBA, your mindset, your behavior, and your attitude shows up differently. So when you truly forgive someone, your mindset is different, your behavior toward that person is different, and your attitude toward that person is different. You're able to not only to forgive them, but you're able to pray for them. You're able to encourage and lift them up. Now, forgiveness doesn't always mean reconciliation, but sometimes it does. So we want to help you to get to that place. So that's why we spend 3 weeks really talking about different areas and levels of forgiveness. Then week 7, we're going to talk about managing mental health 101. How do you manage your mental health? It's just not about going to get a massage or self-care, although that's a part of it, but there are other things that you can do as well to manage your mental health. And sometimes that does include medication. So we have special guests to speak about that. On week 8, we're going to talk about how to restore trust, hope, and respect after a commitment is broken. If you were the person that broke that commitment, we have a special guest that'll be talking about how she was the person that actually stepped out on her husband and how her marriage failed as a result of that. She was the other woman. She was the other woman on both ends. And then week 9, we're going to talk about spiritual growth. How do you grow intimately, an intimate relationship with God the Father? How do you do that beyond just going to church, beyond serving on the auxiliaries and ministries at church, beyond teaching Bible study or Sunday school, and all of that's great, and that's what we should be doing. But what else? What else can I do to make sure that I'm growing in God? I'm not just going to church. I'm not just serving in ministry, but I'm growing. And then week 10, we're going to talk about spiritual growth, everyday prayers, principles, and promises for abundant living. What do I need to affirm? How can I affirm who I am in God? How can I affirm these principles and these promises? How can I make these things true in my life? How can I manifest these things true in my life? And then week 11, we're going to talk about mastering self-trust and intimacy, because that's huge. That's huge. And then week 12, we're going to end with building purpose-driven confidence and self-esteem for the journey ahead. And all 12 weeks, we have special guests that will be coming to you and sharing with you on these 12 pivotal areas of transforming your life.
So you may be asking, what do you need to do to make all this happen? So I want to ask a question. Can we extend a special invitation to you guys? If so, just type yes. And I'm going to the group to see what, I want to see you guys' comments. Let us know.
Yes, I'm going to say yes.
Okay, so with that, we're going to be sharing with you a 12-day implementation plan. Is a 12-week implement 12-day. That's not enough. 12-week implementation plan. We want to not only provide you the information, but we also want to provide you a way to evaluate and to actually apply that what you learn over the next 12 weeks. And we wanted to make it 12 weeks because we wanted to be short enough that you stay focused on this task. There's so many distractions, so many bright, shiny objects, and the next thing that's coming around. So we figure if we can get you in a confined time frame with a focused activity of focusing on your goal of emotional and spiritual healing, that you'll be most likely to be successful in this area. And when we've done shorter classes, 7 to 12 weeks, we see that people achieve a higher level of success. And so that's why we pretty much repackage this in a way that you can get what you need and focus on one area of growth at a time. Somebody type focus on one area of growth at a time. Just one. And you may ask, will this work? Well, when we look back at other clients who have went through a similar program, it worked. Amazing results where people experience able to forgive, letting go of soul ties, letting go of past hurt and pain, really just being liberated. I mean, there's no price you can pay on the freedom of your soul. My God. Somebody type that. There's no price you can pay for the freedom of your soul. That's what we're talking about today. So will it work? Absolutely. If you work it, it will work. If you listen to the audios and you do the worksheets that we designed for you to go with each audio, absolutely it will work. Understand, when we talk about investment, it's not just about money. Investment is your time, investment is your energy, investment is the resources that you need to actually manifest a thing. It's just not about money. It's time and energy as well, and your effort. So when you put those things to work, you will manifest an amazing result. And the truth of the matter is, if you could have done it on your own, it would have already been done by now. So I'm pinging through a couple of slides because I want you to see all what you get. So you'll get 12 weeks of training. There's going to be pre-recorded audios that we're going to tell you, hey, this is the audio, go listen to this, and it'll be available to you. Each audio is about 45 to 75 minutes for each training. It's a coaching session. And like Trell said, we have over 8 different guest speakers. So you're just not going to hear from us. You thought these speakers tonight was dynamic, which, I mean, this week they were dynamic, but we have other dynamic speakers that's going to be teaching and sharing with you as well. Not only are we going to give you training, right? We're going to give you implementation. So you're going to have every week, you're going to have a 1-page handout where you can answer questions and say, okay, I got the information. How does this information apply to my life? How does this information apply to my situation? How do I do something with this to manifest the change I want to see for me? We also going to have weekly accountability. We've never done this before. We may never do it again. With the weekly accountability inside of a private community, you will be able to post your assignments, and Trell or I, we will alternate, will comment on your assignment and provide you real life feedback. That's one thing that's missing in the coaching industry. Oftentimes people want to sell you a program and you go online and you listen to some audio and you have no human interaction, and they can sell you the exact 7, 10, 12, 15 steps to solve, to stop world, to end world hunger or whatever, to help your soul or to get married. If you don't have the feedback, you don't know if you're applying the information correctly. And so you will get that weekly feedback. And a weekly accountability, say, hey, have you post your assignment, and then we'll give you feedback on that assignment. And lastly but not least, we will have 3 live trainings with 3 with special guests. So I will say we will have at least 2 special guests, because Trell and I may facilitate one of those. So between 2 to 3 special guests for the live training that you will be having as well. And so that will further go into areas for example, of rejection. We want to take a deeper dive into rejection during that time. next slide is on the investment slide. And all I want to tell you is that this is an investment. There's no price, there's no cost, there's an investment. And let me just distinguish between an investment and a cost. So there's a cost for the cars that you purchase, there's a cost. The clothes that you buy, there's a cost. The food that you eat, and that's perishable because you eat it today and you then dump it out tomorrow. Okay, right? You just take the little nutrition that comes with it and then you let it go. But with an investment, when you put something in an investment, you get something of greater value back. Think of your home. When you put down on a home, you gain equity in that home. If you put your money into a retirement account, an interest-bearing retirement account, you put in $100 today, you get $1,000 10 years from now, or 5 years from now, or $500, whatever the case may be, you get a return. So somebody type, for an investment, there's always a return. For an investment, there's always a return. So we don't like to be the type of organization that there's we play games and say, oh, we take your money today and you don't get what you need and we're going tomorrow. No, we're not playing those type of games. So we always like to offer a 10-day money back guarantee. So that way, if you say, okay, let me hand you over this investment for this program today, and next week you get in there and you say, oh, this is not what I thought, or whatever the case may be, you would get a 10-day money back guarantee. Let me go ahead and let you know what the investment is for this 12-week spiritual and emotional healing. Let me stop sharing my screen because it probably looks crazy right now. But I want to go to the page. I'm actually going to drop the link for those who want to take advantage. Let me see if I can, how can I drop it in Facebook? I'm going to have to drop it another way. I'm going to be dropping a link in Facebook, but can I share my screen? Let's see, hold on. Okay, can y'all see my internet browser? So there's actually 3 options for your investment, and we made it extremely affordable.
I can't see it yet.
Uh-oh, let me reset the screen because it doesn't look like my whole payment came up. It should have been. There's something. One of my payment options are missing, actually. Why is that the case? I don't know. I guess I'm gonna have to go back and add it. Okay, so for some reason I'm missing one of the payment options, but the cost, the investment for this program, for this 12-week of spiritual and emotional healing is $297. $297, a drop in the bucket. Some of you guys are spending more on eating out. I ain't calling nobody name, but I was talking to an amazing young lady this week, and she was like, man, I have been eating out, a lot. And I said, do you think it wasn't more than $500? Oh, she said, yeah, it was way more than $500. People, you spend more than that on coffee. That's about, is that $10 a day? For less than $10 a day, right? You'll get 90 weeks of transformation. There's some payment options. You can do a 4-pay for $97. You could do a 6-pay for $67. I'm going to attempt to try to update the full pay. I don't know what happened to that. Maybe I didn't. There's a full pay for $297 that you can take advantage of. I'm going to stop my screen for one moment. And I'm also, you know what? I really need to go on Facebook so you guys can get to the page. Let me do that. Jeez. Give me a second. What I want to share, I'm going to try to talk and do this at the same time, so pray for me. I was listening to something very dynamic by Dr. Cindy Trim earlier this week, and she was sharing how oftentimes it's so easy to spend so much money on perishable things, but people will spend, and I don't believe this is anybody, okay, this may be you, so tempted to spend $200, $300 on perishable things. And food is definitely perishable things. That's one of the biggest areas I see people waste so much money eating out, feeding your guts, just putting food in your body. And a lot of times it's junk, but you're not willing to put that same investment here. If that's you, how my coach said, I'm already talking to the wrong person. We're talking to the people who say, I need more. I need spiritual and emotional healing. I know that this is a great opportunity, and I'm going to take advantage of it. Those are the people that we're talking about who's saying, I know now is my time. This is my season. I don't no longer want to wait and allow time and this opportunity to pass me by. Okay, I'm trying to get it. I think I got it, you guys. It's a long URL. It's probably just best with you. I know now is my time. This is my, I don't no longer. Oops, sorry, you guys. I'm getting feedback there because I was trying to drop the link, which I think I did successfully drop the link, but I started to get the feedback. It's a long URL. I'm not going to I'm going to tell you what it is, but I wouldn't recommend you type it. You can just click it. It's BYT 12-week spiritual and emotional healing.securecheckout.com. And as I mentioned, I'm going to also go ahead and add the one pay. The one pay is the cheapest option, because we want to incentivize those who can pay in full to pay in full. It's $297. I'm excited about this. We restructured this. Trell and I had a mastermind call earlier this week, and we said we want to do things differently this year. We don't want to run our academy like we run it. This is still a membership program. It's a 90-day intensive, if you will, a 12-week intensive membership program. We don't want to run our membership programs like we ran in the past. We wanted to increase our rate of, we want to open it up so more people could have an opportunity to invest. And we didn't want financial to be a reason why you couldn't. We didn't want time. We didn't want to try to drag you on this 12-month journey for you to get your transformation. We want to do 90-day, 12 weeks. Let's get it.
Absolutely. And if you've been on with us for the last 7 days, and you know that this is the next step for you, you know that you've been trying to do it on your own. You've been at this place before. You've been at this place, this roadblock before. You've been where you've been faced with the barriers of going to the next step of your faith for your healing emotional, your healing spiritual, and you've not been able to cross over that barrier because you need support, you need accountability, you need strategy, you need feedback, you need implementation. Because again, we can tell you what to do, but if we don't show you how to do it and then provide you feedback on the journey, you'll still be stuck. It'll take you way longer to get to that place of healing. And we don't want that to be your truth. So if you're on here tonight and you're saying, you know what, this is my next step. I've been contemplating what to do next. I've been talking to my friends about what to do next, but I haven't seen a viable option or opportunity. And tonight being on this call, tonight being on this challenge for the last 7 days, this has shown me what I need to do. I want you to go ahead and type below, I'm going to step out by faith. Because if the truth be told, it's a by faith decision. We said earlier that fear always shows up first. And guess what? That's no different when it comes to making an investment. When you know this is something that you have to do for your life, you know that this is your next step, but fear shows up. Oh my God, I'm going to have to spend money. Oh my God, it's $297. Oh my God, I don't know if I'm going to be able to do the work. Oh my God, I don't know if I'm going to have time to do the work. Oh my God, I'm a procrastinator, so I may start it and never finish it. That's why we're here. We're here to help you to be accountable. We're here to support you. We're here to encourage you. And we're here to push you along the journey of your transformation. So if you're here tonight and you know that this is your next step, you know this is the next level for you, then I want you to type that I'm going to walk by faith. And I dropped the link because I think your link, something was wrong with that link, Jill. So I grabbed the link and I dropped it here.
Thank you.
Again, you're welcome.
So who's taking advantage? Who's going to be joining us on this journey? And it seems like Facebook put the ugliest freezing pose on there. It's so funny.
It does that. So again, just so you know what the options are, the investment is $297, so that's less than $10 a day, and for 12 weeks, so $297. And if you're not in a position to do that, you can choose an option of doing 4 payments of $97. And if you're not in a position to do that, you can do 6 payments of $67. 6 payments of $67. Of course, if you do the full and pay option, you're going to save significantly. And also, bonus, if you were to do the full pay option, as a bonus, you'll automatically get a complimentary ticket to our annual event, which is happening August 8th in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. So if you're in, let us know, and we'll stay on and walk you through the checkout and congratulate you for joining the winning team. And we also want to stay on as well because if you have any questions about the program, any questions about this week, we want to take this time to go ahead and answer those as well. So you all have the floor. You have the floor now.
All right, we're gonna give it one more minute. One more minute. Let us know if you have a question. Let us know if you're gonna be joining us on this journey. So generally for an academy, you can join, it's usually $9.97 and $97 or $97 a month with a 12-month commitment. So right now we're allowing for a 90-day or 12-week entry for focus in on the emotional and spiritual development. So this is a great time, and we're excited for all those who are going to be joining. And some of you guys probably are on the website now checking out. I don't think we have any final thoughts. I'll just stop the screen share. I think that's been about a minute. Let me give it a 20-second countdown. 19, 18, 17. I'm counting down for any questions, and all for those who are coming back to say, hey, I already joined, type on the screen. Even if you're watching replay, type, say, yes, 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 I joined. And we're gonna say congratulations to you. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. My phone died, so I did any questions come through, Trail? I'm gonna take that as a no. So no questions came through, you guys. We're gonna go ahead and wrap up. Thank you so much for joining. Thank you so much for joining. Until next time, be blessed. Have a good night.
Good night.